Hey guys, Sneaky Snake here, Brothers in Arms, World of Warships, and today's video is a replay that I had in my Tier 8 Soviet destroyer, the Tashkent, which is the name for the capital of present-day Kyrgyzstan. And we're playing some domination here with my buddy Fatal Donuts in his Tier 8 American battleship, the North Carolina, on Hotspot. So, why is this replay being featured? Well, this is, based off the title of the video, the second solo warrior in a Tashkent that is featured on our channel, and this is the second solo warrior that I've ever had in World of Warships. The first Tashkent Solo Warrior was taken care of by my buddy Puddin. The link to that video is provided in the description below and on your screen right now. And also, my first ever Solo Warrior in the USS Texas, the Tier 5 American battleship, is also in the description below and on your screen right now as well. So, let me just put this out there really quickly. This is a 10v10. This is not a 12v12. So if you want to put an asterisk on this Solo Warrior, you can. But hey, Solo Warriors are very, very difficult to get. They're just like the Kolobanov's medal in World of Tanks, which again, I'm sure a lot of you guys play. And yeah, it's just very difficult to do. And quite frankly, I think it's harder to do in World of Warships to get a Solo Warrior than it is for a Kolobanov's in World of Tanks. Because at least in World of Tanks, if you know how to angle your armor correctly and you put yourself in, maybe a good hull down position, or you put yourself in a place where you're not really going to be taking too much enemy fire and you can just deal damage, you can pretty much guarantee yourself not taking any damage while taking care of the enemy team. And in World of Warships, it's just a lot more difficult to do so, especially so in a Soviet destroyer, because every time you shoot your guns, it doesn't matter the range, you're going to be spotted and detected. Because these things used to be able to blind fire, and let me tell you how OP that stuff was. So they got rid of it quite a few patches ago. And now it's a lot harder for these Soviet destroyers to, carry games just because of that. And also with the advent of Typhoons, which there will be one in this game, this thing does not have a detection range of less than 8 kilometers. So every time that the Typhoon hits, and you get detected immediately at 8 kilometers, unlike all the other destroyers, and it's really difficult to engage targets in that kind of a scenario. Anyway, getting on to the gameplay. 2,700 points of damage on the first salvo on the enemy Miyoko with armor piercing. Then I shoot high explosive and do 1,500. I put myself in a pretty solid position here in Objective Charlie. I am going to be able to get a solo cap here out of this. And I shoot quite a few salvos at the enemy Miyoko, do just over 5,000 points of damage, turn him away. And then I switch my attention here to the enemy Colorado. Now, really quickly, the Tashkent is very similar to the Kiev, especially so in its gun performance and gun placement. You get 2 at the front, 1 in the back. However, the big difference between the Kiev and the Tashkent is the amount of hit points that you get on the Tashkent. You can get well over 20,000 hit points if you run with the hit points captain skill, which I just successfully put on. As you can see in this replay, I do not have it, but a full health Tashkent nonetheless still has 19,600 solid points worth of health to deal around, and quite frankly, that's pretty good. The enemy Miyoko launched his torpedoes at an unknown friendly ship behind me. Didn't have to worry about it. Now you can see here quite a few of the shells that are hitting the Colorado are just not penetrating and not doing any damage. So the damage is very poor, but nonetheless, you still got to keep shooting because he already burned his damage control, and I'm looking to set more fires. My buddy Fatal Donuts behind me just absolutely nuked the Miyoko that ran aground. Very good start to the game for him. And we've also captured Objective Alpha. There's only one enemy ship that is down there, and it looks like a battleship of some sort. We're leading the game 410 to 268. The enemy team has captured Objective Bravo, but so far everything is going pretty well. I continue to fire at the enemy Colorado. I already lit him on fire once, and I'm just trying to get that second fire so he burns quite more fervently than before. I might have already set the fire, though, and not caught it. I don't know. More shells falling in. Nope, there it is. There's the second fire on the Colorado. Very good stuff there. He's going to have to get out of dodge, but that thing is so darn slow that it's very difficult to do so. Now, in my first Solo Warrior replay that I featured with myself in the Texas, I said that getting a Solo Warrior is generally a lot more luck. There's a lot more luck involved in it than one might think. And I know that might rub some people the wrong way, but to be honest with you, there's just a very specific and certain amount of circumstances that have to fall your way. At least in domination, your team generally has to be leading the game by quite a few hundred points for that to happen. And indeed, this is exactly what's going to happen for me in this replay. So there's just a lot of things that just have to fall into place for you. And I know a lot of the replays of Kolobanov's medals in World of Tanks, it's like a 1v5 or 1v6 or something, and the enemy team just loses their mind and they come at you one by one by one. Well, in World of Warships, a lot of the times, stuff like that doesn't necessarily happen, and it's a lot more difficult to to do it, just because, you know, I do think that the quality of players in World of Warships is slightly better than World of Tanks, just on average across the board. So it just feels a lot more difficult to me. Getting some shots here now on the enemy turrets. Now, I'm doing something here that a lot of people I don't think understand. I've popped my smoke, and I'm moving forward at a quarter speed, and then I'll stop for a couple seconds, and then I'll go to a quarter speed. And basically what that enables me to do is to continue firing every time my guns are reloaded without outrunning the smoke screen. The smoke screen will not protect you if you're going at 12.5 knots or faster. If you deploy it and you're going faster than that, you're going to get spotted and then go undetected and then get spotted whenever the smoke cloud does its pump, because it basically pumps smoke out every couple of seconds. And if you're moving slower than that, you're not going to get detected while you're popping your smoke. I continue to shoot at the enemy turrets. I did set them on fire a couple of times, and now I'm looking to continue to set more. One of my friends behind me does set a fire. I launched 3 wide sets of torpedoes, just trying to anticipate the direction that the enemy turrets would be coming in. Unfortunately for me, at that moment, he decides to turn completely to his port side, go full broadside, and my torpedoes do not have a chance of hitting him. Now, I continue to pump more shells into him, this time switching to armor piercing since he turned broadside to me, and I'm doing well over 1,000 damage with every shot out of my guns. Now, I finally do less than 1,000 because he angled in towards me, so I switch back to high explosive. He launches his torpedoes at the friendly shores, and luckily for me, I catch that just as his torpedoes come out of the tubes, so I immediately start to back up, and I am in no danger of getting hit. I'm up to 56,000 points of damage, which is a very solid total here already in the early stages of this game, and I continue to pelt him with rounds. Armor-piercing salvo out. Will this be enough for the kill? Nope, he's angled too much, and I only do 826 damage, and then the Shores, who already died, that lit him on fire quite a few times, is able to take care of the kill. So almost 200,000 damage, 1 solo base cap, and well over 200 shells hit already this, early stage of the game. We are winning 357 to 359. We have lost a couple ships more than the enemy, 4 to their 2, and the enemy team is also capturing Objective Alpha. We do have a friendly battleship on Objective Bravo, and unfortunately our friendly Kiev that was chasing down some enemy ships over on the 4 line dies, but at the same time a friendly North Carolina takes out an enemy Gneisenau. So we've pretty much brought the scores back, and now that we have all 3 of the caps, we're going to start really racking up the points. The enemy ship that was an Objective Alpha was the Gneisenau, and he was the one that was indeed killed by our friend in the North Carolina in Objective Bravo. So now with all 3 caps, we are in business, and at this point it's just about survival. Keeping the enemy ships off of the cap up here. As you can see, all these enemy battleships that are up here are just being very, very passive, and they're not trying to push on to sea assertively at the moment, and, you know, good for us. That means that they will not be able to reduce the amount of points we're getting from cap anytime soon. I now shoot more high explosive salvos here at the enemy Colorado, trying to get a fire set. He only has just over 11,000 hit points left, and I do indeed set a fire. Haven't penetrated and done any damage with my shells, but I am continuing to set fires every now and again. More salvos flying in on the Colorado. Set my second fire on him. There we go. First salvo that does actual damage, 570. He immediately burns his damage control, and before I'm able to get more shots into him, he gets nuked with the remainder of his hit points by the friendly Iowa that's up here. Now, looking at the minimap, there is a more or less full health Iowa on the enemy team, or not more or less. He has about, let's see, 3/4 of his health, something like that. Yeah, I'd say 3/4. And also the enemy Amagi up here has about 3/4 of his health as well. So it's those two versus my buddy Fatal Donuts and also the friendly Iowa. So at this point, the score is 527 to 269, and we're just, again, racking up the point totals very, very fast over the enemy team. It looks like a sure, clear-cut victory right now at this moment. The Cyclone has hit, however, and the detection range is going down rapidly. I do leave those guys up there to deal with the battleships themselves because there's still the enemy Fubuki that's running around as well. He was spotted over here. There he is. He just pops up on the minimap very quickly, and he's trying to harass the friendly North Carolina that's an Objective Bravo. So I am beelining down there to try and take this guy out. And if I'm able to take out the only destroyer on the enemy team, it'll make my job a lot easier, especially with the Cyclone, because nothing would be worse than to be getting spotted by the Fubuki less than 8 kilometers during the storm, and I'm unable to spot him or see him back. Unfortunately, the friendly Iowa up north gets killed, so now it's just Donuts versus those 2 battleships. He was relaying to me, hey man, I'm just going to try to go for a ram here. At least that's what I'm thinking that he was trying to do. 569 to 309 is our score, and again, we're going to continue to rack up the points at a very fervent pace because we have all 3 caps. And this Fubuki just wasn't paying attention at all. He gets spotted coming around the island at 5 kilometers, and I am just going to lay into him. Friendly battleship does get quite a nice salvo, and then I do as well. 2,600 points of damage, more shells flying in, and this Fubuki has absolutely no chance. He's dead. I got a guaranteed kill here. The enemy Miyoko appears, however, at just under 8 kilometers, and he is coming at my position. I do take a couple hits from the Fubuki, and he actually lays in 3,400 points worth of damage, but nonetheless, I was able to take him out and lose very minimal hit points in return. Now this enemy Miyoko is continuing to come at the island here, so I'm swinging back around, and I don't have too much longer on the reload for my torpedoes, so I'm trying to now close the distance to the island as much as I can, and I know that my friendly battleship in B is more or most likely going to be the center of his attention. But I'm also worried about him just coming around the island and trying to YOLO me. I do get detected. The Miyoko comes around the island at 5.2 kilometers, and he's not looking at me. Hey. Okay, no problem. So now I'm going to get some armor-piercing salvos in. And I'm now looking on the screen right here, I do pop my smoke in a bit of a panic because I thought that he was going to pay more attention to me, but he actually doesn't. And I continue to back up. I'm waiting for his torpedoes, and nothing happens. And he's still completely ignoring me, so I think, okay, well, load the high explosive, and I'm going to come out of the smoke, and I'm going to charge this guy. Take some hits there from the friendly North Carolina that's in Objective Bravo. We're still in control of all 3 caps. My buddy Fatal Donuts has died about 30 seconds ago. Now we only have one more friendly battleship up there at Objective Charlie and a friendly Gneisenau to deal with them. The Miyoko takes another pretty solid hit from the friendly battleship in Objective Bravo, and I'm just continuing to pelt him with high explosive or armor piercing, depending on what angle he is giving me. Unfortunately, my shells really aren't doing too much damage to him, just over 200 right there. I think this armor piercing looks good, and 500 damage, very poor stuff. Now, an enemy ship has finally gotten Objective Alpha. We have a very commanding 749 to 304 lead. And once we kill this enemy Miyoko over here, that lead is going to further increase as well. Not sure where this enemy Miyoko is at specifically. I knew he was moving off to my starboard side. Jeez, I can't talk right now. I spot him, there we go, as he comes around the island, and I am able to take care of him for 1,500 points of damage. That is my second ship destroyed in the game thus far. 284 shell hits, 1 solo cap, 9 fires set, 76,000 points of damage dealt. And at this point, even with the enemy taking Objective Alpha, we are winning the game by over 500 points, approaching 600. We only have 3 ships, however, and the enemy team has 4, and there were those 2 very healthy battleships up here at Objective Charlie. Now, the friendly Gneisenau is running away. He has indeed run into both the Amagi and the Iowa, and this is where the game takes the turn for the worse for our team. I'm debating if I want to help this guy out. Now, as I mentioned earlier, he takes a pretty big hit right there. Because of the cyclone, the typhoon, as soon as I get within range of those ships, as soon as I get within 8 kilometers, I'm immediately going to be spotted. My detection on this thing is only 8.2 kilometers. That's my concealment rating. And I decide to leave the Gneisenau. Now, some might think it's cold or callous. My buddy Puddin, when he watched this replay, thought that I should have went up there. I tell the Gneisenau to stay just angled in and just keep coming towards me, because I really don't want to get close. Now, if I did have the 8-kilometer torpedoes, certainly a viable play that Puddin mentioned to me would be to go right up to the 8-kilometer detection, drop all the torps, and then turn away to just try and help him out. But the Gneisenau makes quite a big mistake here, and he tries to turn broadside to drop his torpedoes, and he's just losing health very quickly. Now, here's the second decision that I decide to make. The friendly North Carolina is heading back in towards Objective Bravo. You can see the Gneisenau dropping his torpedoes there. I decided not to hit into B. And my thinking behind it is this. The enemy New Orleans is definitely the ship that took Objective Alpha. He was last spotted moving down to the south, I don't even know how many minutes ago. So he's certainly taken Objective Alpha. The Gneisenau just gets killed. And now he's probably moving up towards Objective Bravo. My friend in the North Carolina is moving back into B. However, just to make sure that the enemy New Orleans is not doing something really weird and trying to come up around this way, I decide to head around the giant island here, just off my starboard side. The reason being is I want to basically get 100% certainty that that enemy cruiser is going to be moving into Bravo over somewhere along the 4 line through one of the many gaps in the small islands over there. I want to make sure that this guy is not trailing the North Carolina behind me. So that's why I swing wide around here. The enemy team has just captured Objective Charlie. We still have an absolutely brutal lead over them, 877 to 390, and the Cyclone has run out, and this spotting range will be restored in just less than 2 minutes. So, there we go. You can see the enemy New Orleans has just been spotted over there on the minimap, and I guessed correctly. Educated guess, that is. And I just wanted to make sure this New Orleans was not trying to do something weird and come over here on this side. And clearly he did not. So, am I leaving the North Carolina high and dry? I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I really didn't agree with the decision looking back 2020. I really wanted to help that guy out more. But at the time, I wanted to preserve myself because I knew that I'm the most dangerous ship left on our team because I'm a destroyer, and I'm still going to have way better concealment rating than any of the other ships. Get a solid broadside into the New Orleans with high explosive set of fire. Get a solid broadside with armor piercing, do over 3,000 points of damage. My second salvo goes in and does just about 2,000. So that New Orleans took well over 5,000 points of damage there from 3 salvos, and I don't take any damage in return, so a good trade there. And I was thinking to myself, I think the New Orleans is going to continue to go around the island there and get flanking shots into the side of the enemy North Carolina, or the friendly North Carolina, excuse me. The Amagi and the Iowa on the enemy team have moved down and are now well within range. And since the spotting distance is now letting up because the Cyclone or the Typhoon is moving away, now he's coming under fire from all 3 ships. And I'm just getting some long-range shots here at the enemy Iowa, trying to help him out, maybe set a fire or 2, just try and do something. But the enemy North Carolina isn't going to live for long. And unfortunately for me, the New Orleans actually turned back to his starboard side, and now he's going to swing his guns to shoot at me. So I'm continuing to pelt him with my guns. He's just over 7,000 health. He's at 9.1 kilometers, so if he does have his radar consumable, I'm going to be spotted even if I go out of detection here. Now, the enemy New Orleans is going to make quite a few bumbling mistakes here that will preserve our team the victory later in the game. The friendly North Carolina has long since been killed, and I do go out of detection. I do take about 4,000 damage from a rogue shell from the enemy Iowa, and this is the point right here where the Iowa makes one of his 2 grave mistakes. He didn't pop his radar, if he had it, when I was 9 kilometers away, and quite frankly, I don't understand why he didn't do that. He would have been able to get at least a shot, if not 2 solid salvos out on me. And even if he only did a couple thousand damage a salvo, that's still a game changer right there. And I don't know why he didn't do it, to be honest with you. The enemy New Orleans continues to come this way, and it appears that he's going to go through that gap right there in Gulf 4, and he's going to come right into A, because he's slowly going to close the distance, because even though I'm going faster than him, he's coming at me at a lot more shallow of an angle, and he would. But then he decides to turn away. And this is the second absolute grave mistake that he makes. So as he turns away and goes broadside, I get a couple salvos of armor piercing out on him just to get some cheap damage. Let's see. Looking at the damage counter, just under 2,000 damage that salvo, and the other salvo hits and does over 2,000. So I put him at less than 3,000 hit points. Why he turned away, I have absolutely no idea. He should have just kept charging me, even though that I have a major hit point advantage over him now, and I probably would have been able to kill him. He had to do that. He just threw his team away the victory. I now get on Objective Alpha. The score is 829 to 712. You can see just how quickly the points lead has shrunk, and it's going to continue to shrink as well. I am capturing Objective Alpha, and now I'm, I was going to have my guns trained this way at the beginning, because this is where exactly I figured the enemy Iowa was going to, or the New Orleans was going to be coming from, just right down this little channel right here, and he just doesn't. Why he turned broadside, I mean, you see what I mean? When I said way earlier in the replay, it's a lot more luck involved than you might think. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Why the enemy New Orleans did that, I just have no idea. The enemy Iowa fires a blind salvo of high explosive into the cap. Obviously, he has like a 1 in a billion chance of hitting me, and he does not. But I don't even know where the New Orleans went. I'm guessing that he went behind the large island that's off to my stern right now. So to continue to gain distance from the edge of the island, where my detection range is just at, indicated by the blue dotted line on your screen, I decided to turn away from the Iowa, and now I'm going to be basically running away from the large island. And we only have 51 seconds left on the game. 838 to 790. I'm pretty comfortable that we're going to be able to hold on to the points lead here, because now that I've capped, we're going to be getting 3 points every couple seconds. But you see what I mean, though, by just luck? It's so much. There's just so much more luck involved with a solo warrior. Yeah, there are times where people get solo warriors and they really do carry hard, and certainly there are replays out there that show that. But you can just see here that Iowa, or why do I keep saying Iowa? The New Orleans just threw the game away. I have no idea why he did not continue to just charge me and continue on his course. Just absolutely blows my mind. 12 seconds left on the game, 862 to 838. We're going to win the game. 7 seconds left. Yeah, the enemy team is not going to be able to win getting points back. Maybe there was another 30 seconds left on the timer, maybe so. And that is the end of the game. And the best part is coming up next. Taking a look now at the post-battle results, and what I meant by that right at the end of the video was I had no idea. I was so focused on the gameplay that I got to this screen, and I look to the right, and I see a Solo Warrior medal, and I'm like, what? I got a Solo Warrior? All right. So, yeah, it was an absolute complete surprise. I had no idea. 322,000 credits received, 7,300 experience total earned, 1 medal, Solo Warrior, good stuff, my second one that I've ever earned in-game, 87,000 points of damage, 314 target hits, a solid number of shells on target, 2 solo base caps, 2 ships destroyed, 10 fires set. Looking at the team score, 2,457 base XP. My buddy Fatal Donuts finished second on the team with a nice solid 1,586. We ended up getting 3 kills out of 10. And again, I know right at the beginning of the replay I said this has an asterisk to it because it's only 10v10, but nonetheless, Solo Warrior is still Solo Warrior. So I hope you guys enjoyed that replay as much as I enjoyed getting it in-game. Again, completely surprised me. Wasn't paying attention to how many ships were left on the enemy team. And you see there, it didn't really feel like that I had to try too awfully hard to get that. And at the same time, there was also so much luck involved. That New Orleans made so many bumbling mistakes. I have no idea. But hey, I got my second Solo Warrior. I ain't going to complain. And with that being said, Sneaky Snake here for Brothers in Arms World of Warships. Please keep sending in your replays. Please keep liking our videos, commenting on them. We enjoy the banter in the chat between you guys and us. It's good stuff. We enjoy talking to you. And have a great day, guys. Sneaky Snake for Brothers in Arms World of Warships, signing off.